Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Nishit Kumar and with me is Renuka RS with the evening news. The headlines. New education policy will prepare Indian youth for new challenges in the ever-evolving sphere of employment and jobs, says Prime Minister. President Ramnath Kovind asked states to organize virtual sessions to implement new education policy. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar chairs webinar on the first ever International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies, assures centre's commitment to bring down pollution rate in cities. Metro services in different cities including Delhi resume after a gap of more than 5 months with all the preventive measures to contain spread of coronavirus. And in US Open, Indo-Canadian duo of Rohan Bopanna and Denis Shapovalov to play men's doubles quarterfinals today, and Novak Djokovic disqualified after striking a line judge with a ball. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has hailed the new education policy and said it will change the one-size-fits-all theory of earlier education policies. He said the new education policy will prepare Indian youth for new challenges in the ever-evolving sphere of employment and jobs. He was addressing the inaugural session of the Governors' Conference on National Education Policy through video conference this morning.
ये पॉलिसी देश के युवाओं को भविष्य की आवश्यकताओं के मुताबिक नॉलेज और स्किल्स दोनों मोर्चों पर तैयार करेगी। नई शिक्षा नीति स्टडी के बजाय लर्निंग पर फोकस करती है और करिकुलम से और आगे बढ़कर क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग पर जोर देती है। इस पॉलिसी में प्रोसेस से ज्यादा पैशन, प्रैक्टिकलिटी और परफॉर्मेंस पर बल दिया गया है। एक तरह से देखें तो ये वन साइज फिट्स ऑल की अप्रोच से हमारी शिक्षा व्यवस्था को बाहर निकालने का एक मजबूत प्रयास है।
The Prime Minister said that suggestions of more than 2 lakh people from across the country were amalgamated in the new education policy.
शिक्षा नीति का जो ड्राफ्ट तैयार हुआ था, उसके अलग अलग पॉइंट्स पर भी 2 लाख से अधिक लोगों ने अपने सुझाव दिए थे। नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी सिर्फ पढ़ाई लिखाई के तौर तरीकों में ही बदलाव लाने के लिए नहीं है। ये पॉलिसी 21वीं सदी के भारत के सामाजिक और आर्थिक जीवन को नई दिशा देने वाली है। ये पॉलिसी आत्मनिर्भर भारत के संकल्प और सामर्थ्य को आकार देने वाली है।
The PM asserted that education policy is the key to fulfill the nation's aspirations and called for minimal government intervention and influence in its implementation.
देश की एस्पिरेशंस को पूरा करने का बहुत महत्वपूर्ण माध्यम शिक्षा नीति और शिक्षा व्यवस्था होती है। शिक्षा व्यवस्था की जिम्मेदारी से केंद्र सरकार, राज्य सरकार, स्थानीय निकाय सभी जुड़े होते हैं। लेकिन ये भी सही है कि शिक्षा नीति में सरकार, उसका दखल, उसका प्रभाव कम से कम होना चाहिए। शिक्षा नीति से जितना शिक्षक जुड़े होंगे, अभिभावक जुड़े होंगे, छात्र छात्राएं जुड़े होंगे, उतना ही उसकी प्रासंगिकता और व्यापकता दोनों ही बढ़ती है।
The Prime Minister said the policy paves the way for opening campuses of the best international institutions in India so that youth from common families can also join them. The Prime Minister said India has been an ancient center of learning and the new policy will help in making it a hub of knowledge economy in the 21st century. President Ramnath Kovind, while addressing the conference, said the new education policy gives top priority to provide basic literacy and numeracy to all children at the primary school level by the year 2025.
इस शिक्षा नीति में यह स्पष्ट किया गया है कि सार्वजनिक शिक्षा प्रणाली ही जीवंत लोकतांत्रिक समाज का आधार होती है। अतः सार्वजनिक शिक्षण संस्थानों को मजबूत बनाना अत्यंत आवश्यक है। वर्ष 2025 तक प्राथमिक विद्यालय स्तर पर सभी बच्चों को मूलभूत साक्षरता और संख्या ज्ञान प्राप्त कराना इस शिक्षा प्रणाली की सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता तय की गई है।
The President said the policy has been formulated after an unprecedented and lengthy process of consultations, including over 2 lakh suggestions received from about 675 districts. The President said that integration of technology in education system will further boost the corrective measures and informed that a National Education Technology Forum will soon be established in the country to suggest such measures to all the stakeholders. The President asked governors to organize theme-based virtual sessions in their states to implement the new National Education Policy. He said the feedback from these sessions can be sent to the Education Ministry for further considerations and utilization at the national level. The conference titled Role of NEP 2020 in Transforming Higher Education is being organized by the Ministry of Education. NEP 2020 is the first education policy of the 21st century, which was announced after 34 years of the previous National Policy on Education 1986. NEP 2020 is directed towards major reforms in both school and higher education level. The Governors' Conference is also being attended by education ministers of all states, vice chancellors of state universities and other senior officials.
Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar today chaired a webinar on the first ever International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Javadekar said the government is committed to reduce the air pollution level in 122 most polluted cities. He said with rise in population, industries, vehicles, garbage and dust, pollution has increased. Mr. Javadekar said Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his address from the Red Fort on this year's Independence Day had highlighted the need of holistic improvement in air quality in 100 cities. He thanked Mr. Modi for bringing the issue in his Independence Day speech and putting across the goal of holistic improvement in air quality in 100 cities. Mr. Javadekar said Prime Minister himself is determined to bring this change. The minister said government has taken several initiatives during last few years to reduce pollution in the country. Launch of National Clean Air Program NACP and National Air Quality Index NAQI, use of BS6 fuel, enhancing emission standards for industries, construction of roads for decongestion of traffic, special emphasis to e-vehicles are some of the initiatives.
समीर ऐप मैं आप सबको विनती करूंगा, ये ऐप डाउनलोड करो, सभी प्ले स्टोर पर मिलता है। आपको 122 शहरों की हवा आपके हाथ में, उसका मॉनिटरिंग आएगा कि कहाँ कितनी है, प्रदूषण कौन सा है। केंद्र ने एक नेशनल क्लीन एयर प्रोग्राम शुरू किया। नेशनल क्लीन एयर प्रोग्राम के तहत करोड़ों रुपए 122 शहरों को अपना सिटी स्पेसिफिक प्लान बनाने के लिए हमने भेजे हैं, क्योंकि हर शहर के कारण अलग है। तो जैसे जिस शहर की तबीयत है प्रदूषण की, वैसे इलाज करके हमें एक अच्छे शहर में परिवर्तन करना है, प्रदूषण में कमी लानी है।
Stressing that states must now work with city-specific plans as every city has different source of pollution, the Environment Minister said that the use of electric vehicle must be encouraged. Mr. Javadekar, along with Minister of State Babul Supriyo and Secretary R.P. Gupta, launched a brochure on integrated measures to combat air pollution under the National Clean Air Program. The first International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies is being commemorated around the world today, following the recognition by the United Nations General Assembly of the importance of clean air for the health and day-to-day lives of people. In a message, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres highlighted the dangers posed by air pollution and urged greater efforts to address it. He said that air pollution contributes to heart diseases, strokes, lung cancer and other respiratory diseases. It also threatens the economy, food security and the environment.
Metro services resumed this morning in different cities across the country after a gap of more than 5 months. These cities are Delhi, Lucknow, Chennai, Bengaluru, Hyderabad and Ahmedabad. Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Durga Shankar Mishra, said that passengers will have to follow preventive measures against COVID-19 by maintaining social distancing and wearing face masks. Our correspondent reports that in the first stage, Delhi Metro resumed services in a graded manner today with elaborate measures for crowd management ensuring hygiene to check the spread of COVID-19. The yellow line connecting Samaipur Badli and Huda City Centre in Gurgaon was the first one to be opened. The services resumed at 7 a.m. with strict safety and social distancing measures in place. The trains will operate in batches of 4 hours each from 7 to 11 a.m. in the morning and 4 to 8 p.m. in the evening. In Chennai, the metro rail services resumed this morning following the unlock 4. The State Industries Minister, M.C. Sampath, inaugurated it at 7 a.m. by travelling by the train in the airport to Washermanpet route. More from our correspondent.
The Chennai Metro Rail Limited has restarted its operation, initially with the Blue Line connecting the airport with Washermanpet via Nandanam and LIC. The Green Line services from St. Thomas Mount to Central will be resumed on Wednesday. The trains are to be run from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day, with the frequency of one train for every 5 minutes during the peak hours and one for 10 minutes during the other times. The passengers underwent thermal screening before boarding the trains. Human interface in ticketing procedures has been minimized using technology options. The initial response to the services remains lukewarm, though it is expected to pick up momentum gradually. Social distancing is being enforced inside the trains. Along with metro service in Chennai, long-distance bus service to almost all important cities and towns in the state were also restarted today, with about 60% of the seat occupancy. Jai Singh, AIR News, Chennai.
In a giant leap in indigenous defense technologies, India successfully flight-tested hypersonic technology demonstrator vehicle HSTDV. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh congratulated Defense Research and Development Organization DRDO for successfully testing the HSTDV using indigenously developed scramjet propulsion system. Mr. Singh said this landmark achievement is a step forward, realizing Prime Minister's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. The Defence Minister said, with this success, all critical technologies are now established to progress to the next phase. Mr. Singh spoke to the scientists associated with the project and said the country is proud of them. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated DRDO for successful flight of the hypersonic test demonstration vehicle today. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said the scramjet engine developed by DRDO scientists helped the flight achieve a speed 6 times the speed of sound. He said very few countries have such capability today.
The Delhi police have arrested 2 hardcore supporters of banned terrorist group Babbar Khalsa International following a brief exchange of fire in northwestern part of the city. The accused have been identified as Bhupender alias Dilawar Singh and Kulwant Singh, both residents of Ludhiana. They were also wanted in some cases in Punjab. The Delhi police said they were planning to execute target killings in various states of northern India on the direction of Pakistan ISI-sponsored Khalistan leaders. India has registered remarkable recovery of over 32,50,000 from COVID-19 so far, and 70,000 patients recovered from the highly infectious disease in the last 24 hours. The overall recovery rate stands at 77.31%. The Health Ministry has informed that the actual caseload of the country currently comprises only 20.99% of the total positive cases. In the last 24 hours, 90,802 new cases have been reported, taking the total number of positive cases to 42,04,614. Presently, the total number of active corona cases in the country is 8,82,542. In the last 24 hours, 1,016 deaths have been reported, taking the toll to 71,642. Over 7,20,000 COVID samples were tested nationwide in the last 24 hours by nearly 1,655 labs in the country. Karnataka Medical Education Minister Dr. K. Sudhakar held a meeting with COVID-19 task force officials today after a 27-year-old woman in Bengaluru developed coronavirus infection for the second time. He asked officials to conduct a clinical study about the coronavirus reinfection cases. Expressing concern over the reinfection case, the minister asked the officials to submit a report on such cases, if any, in other states. He stressed the need to strengthen containment efforts at the booth level in the city. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. New education policy will prepare Indian youth for new challenges in the ever-evolving sphere of employment and jobs, says Prime Minister. President Ramnath Kovind asked states to organize virtual sessions to implement a new education policy. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar chairs webinar on the first ever International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies, assures centre's commitment to bring down pollution rate in cities. Metro services in different cities, including Delhi, resume after a gap of more than 5 months with all the preventive measures to contain the spread of coronavirus. And in US Open, Indo-Canadian duo of Rohan Bopanna and Denis Shapovalov to play men's doubles quarterfinals today, and Novak Djokovic disqualified after striking a line judge with a ball. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
In Madhya Pradesh, a target has been set by the state government that 3,600 oxygen beds and 564 ICU beds would be added for coronavirus treatment till October 31st. This will increase such beds to 11,710 and 2,488 respectively. Our correspondent has filed this report.
After a meeting chaired by Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan to review the coronavirus situation, Minister for Medical Education Vishwas Sarang informed that the state government decided that private hospitals treating COVID-19 patients could charge only 40% more than rates prevalent in the time before the outbreak. It was also decided that patients can voluntarily pay bills fully or partially at designated hospitals which are treating free of cost at the moment. Shri Sarang informed that command control centers with ambulances and doctors were being established in every district to monitor health of 40% of the patients living in home isolation in Madhya Pradesh. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani today flagged off COVID-19 Vijay Rath through video conferencing. COVID-19 Vijay Raths were flagged off from 5 districts of the state simultaneously. Speaking on this occasion, Chief Minister Rupani said that these Raths will help create public awareness in the fight against the coronavirus. Our correspondent has filed this report.
The COVID-19 Vijay Raths have been flagged off from Ahmedabad, Surat, Junagadh, Kutch and Banaskantha districts simultaneously. After covering the 5 districts, it will cover about 90 talukas in 33 districts of the state in the next 44 days. This awareness campaign has been organized by Ahmedabad Press Information Bureau, Regional Outreach Bureau ROB and UNICEF. Gujarat government is already providing health services to the people's doorstep through Dhanvantari Rath, Sanjeevani Rath and 104 helpline. Now the COVID-19 Vijay Rath will help to create mass awareness among the people to check the spread of COVID-19 pandemic in the state. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
In a bid to contain the further spread of COVID-19, the Nitish Kumar-led Bihar government has decided to impose total shutdown in containment zones till September 30th. The state government will abide by the guidelines issued by the Ministry of Home Affairs for Unlock 4. Last week, the centre had issued guidelines for the 4th phase of Unlock, allowing more activities outside the containment zones. Meanwhile, COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 88.67% in the state. 1,845 patients recovered in the last 24 hours, while 1,369 were tested negative. 1,32,145 patients have recovered from the infection in the state so far. 16,120 patients are undergoing treatment in various hospitals at present. Positive cases have mounted to 1,49,027.
Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has said that the positivity rate and fatality rate from coronavirus in the state is far less than other parts of the world, and recovery rate is also far better. He inaugurated the first biosafety level BSL-3 lab of state in BRD Medical College, Gorakhpur today. The Chief Minister also inaugurated a dedicated COVID hospital in Gorakhpur. Yogi Adityanath said this hospital will provide better treatment to the patients from eastern part of the state. Inaugurating the first biosafety level 3 lab BSL-3, 100-bed PG hospital and a guest house on the occasion, the Chief Minister said that when infection spread in March, there was only one testing lab and started with testing of 72 samples. And today, more than 1,55,000 tests are being done daily. Now the BSL-3 lab will further improve the testing capacity of the state. The Reserve Bank of India, RBI, will conduct a simultaneous purchase and sale of government securities under the Open Market Operation OMO for 10,000 crore rupees each on September 10. The central bank today said it would be selling 3 securities totaling 10,000 crore rupees and also purchasing equal number of securities of the same amount. The result of the auctions will be announced on the same day. The central team, headed by Union Home Minister's Joint Secretary K.V. Pratap, arrived in Bengaluru today to assess losses caused by rain and flood in a few districts of the state. The team met Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa. The Chief Minister informed them that the state incurred 8,071 crore rupees losses due to the floods. There is a crop loss of over 4.03 lakh hectares due to natural calamity. The roads, bridges, electricity supply equipment, schools, Anganwadi and the government building too are extensively damaged. Mr. Yediyurappa informed that the state has planned to build calamity-resistant houses for the homeless persons. The state has announced a compensation of 5 lakh rupees for those whose houses were completely damaged in the floods, 3 lakh for major damage and 50,000 for those whose houses were partially damaged. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy released the state's Electronic Hardware Manufacturing Policy 2020 today. A target is fixed in the new policy for the manufacturing of electronic goods worth $100 billion by 2025. It envisages making the state contribute 25% of the country's total electronic hardware export. It also aims at attracting semiconductor fabrication units to the state. Providing a 30% capital subsidy, 50% grant for taking land on lease, 5% interest grant for term loan and a monthly financial aid for the first-time trainees in the sector for 6 months at the rate of 4,000 rupees for men and 6,000 for women are some of the features in the new policy. Mobile phones, LEDs, fabless chips, printed circuit boards, solar photovoltaic cells and medical and automobile electronics are some of the areas that are being given focus in the new policy.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the Patrika Gate in Jaipur through video conference tomorrow. The iconic gate is built by the Patrika group of newspapers on the Jawaharlal Nehru Marg in Jaipur. Prime Minister Modi will also release 2 books written by the group chairman on the occasion. A 24/7 toll-free mental health rehabilitation helpline Kiran was launched by the Social Justice and Empowerment Minister Thawar Chand Gehlot today. The helpline 1800-500-0019 will provide relief and support to persons with mental illness. The helpline was launched in view of the growing incidence of mental illness, particularly in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Gehlot also released the poster, brochure and resource book on the helpline. He also witnessed the live demonstration of helpline. The monsoon session of Himachal Pradesh Assembly began in Shimla today with Speaker Vipin Singh Parmar's address under strict COVID-19 protocol. This is the first session of the State Assembly after the coronavirus-triggered lockdown was imposed in March. The Speaker informed the House about the steps taken to check spread of novel coronavirus during the session. The session, which will conclude on 18th of September, will have 10 sittings. Parmar said about 900 questions have been received from legislators to be asked during the session. On this occasion, the veteran legislator and former Chief Minister Veerbhadra Singh was also present in the House. Ek Bharat, Shreshtha Bharat, the vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is a platform to United States and Union territories for cultural exchange. The concept was initiated by Narendra Modi in 2015 on the occasion of 140th birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Every year, every state and union territory would be paired with another state and union territory in India for reciprocal interaction between the people. Speaking to All India Radio, Dhanurabha Dasyam, research scholar, Sociology Department, Andhra University, expressed happiness over the idea to unite people of diverse cultures.
To promote the spirit of national integration through a deep and structured engagement between all Indian states and union territories, year-long planned engagement between states, to showcase the rich heritage and culture, customs and traditions of either state for enabling people to understand and appreciate the diversity that is India.
Ek Bharat, Shreshtha Bharat is a mission to enhance cultural, academic and economic ties. This program helps in pairing with states and union territories covering sphere of music, drama, cuisine, language, history and tourism. In our series Experts Speak on All India Radio, we bring you the views of the leading medical experts on COVID-19. Talking to AIR News, Dr. Amar Chand Bajaj, Senior Consultant at the Sitaram Bharatiya Institute of Science and Research in New Delhi, highlighted the importance of hygiene and how to maintain it to contain the novel coronavirus.
जब तक हमारे पास इनकी ट्रीटमेंट वैक्सीन या मेडिसिन के रूप में ना निकले, तब तक हमें जो प्रिकॉशनरी मेजर्स है वो फॉलो करने हैं। जहाँ जरूरत ना हो उसमें घर से बिल्कुल बाहर ना निकले, कोशिश करें कम से कम बाहर निकलना है। और जबकि निकलना भी पड़ा घर से बाहर तो कोशिश करें कि जहाँ आप 2 लोग खड़े हैं, करीब 2 मीटर दूर खड़े रहें, नहीं तो कम से कम 1 मीटर दूर खड़े रहें।
Dr. Naresh Gupta of Lok Nayak Jayaprakash Narayan Hospital in Delhi said in most of the cases the COVID-19 infections are self-limiting and very few patients are required to take admission in hospitals.
It's very important to maintain the social distancing and the isolation because there is no treatment for coronavirus. The only way we can control this disorder is prevention, and that is the reason social distancing is very important.
President Pranab Mukherjee was one of the most revered political leaders of India and Bangladesh. There was an outpouring of condolences messages from political leaders as well as common people after he passed away on August 31st. The Parliament of Bangladesh passed a condolence motion today to mourn the death of Pranab Mukherjee. A report from our special correspondent in Dhaka.
The Parliament of Bangladesh, Jatiya Sangsad, unanimously adopted a condolence motion on Monday to mourn the demise of former President of India Pranab Mukherjee. Speaker Shirin Sharmin Chowdhury moved the condolence motion. Calling him a true patriot, the motion said that Bangladesh will always remember the great eternal leader as a genuine well-wisher of the people of India and Bangladesh. Earlier, Bangladesh observed one-day national mourning to pay respect to the departed leader. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, in her letter to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, had recalled his steadfast support and contribution in strengthening the relations between the two countries. She said that Bharat Ratna Pranab Mukherjee will inspire the future generation of leaders across countries in the region. Rajesh Jha for All India Radio News, Dhaka.
In UK, a judge presiding over fugitive diamond heir Nirav Modi's extradition case over the estimated $2 billion Punjab National Bank fraud and money laundering charges brought by India rejected an application seeking a partial reporting ban at the start of a 5-day trial today. District Judge Samuel Guzi dismissed the application after hearing representations in what he called a high-profile case in India, including from members of the press present at Westminster Magistrates Court. Nirav Modi has made repeated attempts at bail over the past year, each of which were turned down as he is deemed a flight risk. He was arrested on March 19th last year on an extradition warrant executed by Scotland Yard.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. It will have a minimum temperature of 26 degrees Celsius and the maximum of 37 degrees. In Mumbai, there will be generally cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder or lightning. The minimum temperature will be 25 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 32 degrees. Chennai will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature will hover between 26 and 34 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will witness partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. The minimum temperature in the metropolis will be around 28 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be 36 degrees. On to the north, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature will be 26 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while the maximum will be around 33 degrees. The city will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. In Srinagar, the minimum temperature will be around 17 degrees, while the maximum will be 27 degrees. The city will have partly cloudy sky. Ladakh will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will hover between 16 and 27 degrees Celsius. In Gilgit, the temperature will hover between 14 and 28 degrees Celsius. It will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. In Muzaffarabad, there will be mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will hover between 21 and 31 degrees Celsius. In the US Open tennis, the Indo-Canadian pair of Rohan Bopanna and Denis Shapovalov will face the Dutch-Romanian duo of Jean-Julien Roja and Horia Tecau in the men's doubles quarterfinals today. Bopanna and Shapovalov reached the quarterfinals after defeating the German pair of Kevin Krawitz-Andriasmes in the second-round clash that lasted for an hour and 47 minutes. In the women's singles, Serena Williams will take on Maria Sakkari of Greece in the fourth round. And now, before we close, the headlines once again. New education policy will prepare Indian youth for new challenges in the ever-evolving sphere of employment and jobs, says Prime Minister. President Ramnath Kovind asks states to organize virtual sessions to implement the new education policy. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar chairs webinar on the first ever International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies, assures centre's commitment to bring down pollution rate in cities. Metro services in different cities including Delhi resume after a gap of more than 5 months with all the preventive measures to contain spread of coronavirus, And in the US Open, Indo-Canadian duo of Rohan Bopanna and Denis Shapovalov to play the men's doubles quarterfinals today, and Novak Djokovic disqualified after striking a line judge with a ball. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.